Hey, what's good, Econ fam? We are on day number 14, and today we got allocation methods on the menu. Now, first thing you need to know is what is an allocation method. Allocation methods are how society decides who gets what. Who gets the slice of pie? Who gets the biggest slice of pie? And it's all based on different things. We're going to learn about it today. Let's go. All right, so the pictures I'm going to be using in the actual PowerPoint are the same pictures that's located on eClass for you to plug in your notebook. So like always, I know you don't have time to print these out. You're seeing them just as I'm seeing them and talking about them. But what I do want you to do is follow along, look and see what I'm talking about, take the notes, and then you can go back in and plug in the pictures. All right, so let's go. All right, so the very first allocation method, and these are in no particular order, but we have to start somewhere. So the first one we're going to talk about is price. Price is very simple. It's basically if you can afford the resource and you want it, you can have it. If you can't afford it, then you can't get it. There's no way possible that you can get it. Now, is this fair? No, it's not fair. This is what I talked about with the haves and the have-nots. This is a market principle, because if you apply yourself, you can get it, but if you don't, you won't get it. So with the Drake picture, talking about Drake's concert, right? So if we wanted to go to Drake's concert, how do we decide? How do we go? We got price allocation. If Drake's ticket costs $400 to go to a show, if you got the $400, you can go. If not, you won't be able to go. Now, is it only based on price that determines who gets to go and who does not get to go? No, that leads me to my second allocation method. First come, first served. Now, if you want to go to the Drake concert and you have the money, you may or may not still be able to go because there's limited seating in the arena, right? So therefore, if you get to the tickets in time and you have the money, you can purchase them. If not, if you're too late, you might have the money, but you still can't go. So first come, first served. Whoever gets to the resource first gets to go. Once again, it's kind of an unfair system, but the early bird gets the worm. All right, so the third allocation method we're going to talk about is majority rules. Now, think about this. Majority rules is usually conducted by way of voting. So, for instance, homecoming queen and homecoming king. How do we decide who gets that honor, right? It's typically done by voting, usually at school prior to the prom, right? Or not prom, but football game. So same situation for the prom. Prom king, prom queen, usually done by voting, right? So majority rule, the people that want the resource the most in terms of vote for that resource, they get that resource. No better way. This is 2020, election 2020, November 3rd, voting for president. How do we decide who becomes president? Voting, right? Majority rule. Sort of, kind of, because we do have the electoral system, but I digress. All right, so we are on the fourth method, allocation method. This is contest. Now, contest allocation method means the resource goes to the winner. So who's the fastest? Who's the smartest? Who's the strongest, right? Football game. How do we decide who wins? By way of contest. Whoever scores the most points. Basketball, whoever scores the most points. Baseball, whoever scores the most runs. How do we decide who gets scholarship? Contest. Whoever does best on the test, right? ACT, SAT. Whoever has the highest GPA. So contest is based on winning. All I do is win, no matter what. Every time I step up in the building, everybody's hands go. And they stay there. Okay, I digress. I'm done with that. All right, so the fifth allocation method is lottery, or sometimes it is known as random selection. Lottery, think about the lottery. When you play the lottery, everybody has equal chance of winning, right? Everybody has the same odds, and the resource goes to a random person, right? A lucky winner. Now, some things to know about lottery or random selection. It is not a fair system. Think about it. What if I buy 10 lottery tickets and spend $10 on it, but Shaquille O'Neal buys 2.2 million lottery tickets and he winds up being the winner of $500 million? He didn't necessarily need that $500 million versus somebody who may have been down to their last dollar purchasing the ticket. So once again, the resource a lot of times goes to somebody who does not need that particular resource. So think about that. Wasteful. All right, so the sixth allocation method is personal characteristic. Now this is based on what's known as merit, meaning working for the resource, or it's based on need, people that need the resource the most. So some examples would be Georgia EBT, like food stamps or a food card, right? Everybody can't get that, but the resource goes to those who are in need of that. Federal Pell Grants, people going to college that come from low income housing. Typically, federal Pell Grants go to those who can't afford to go to school on their own in terms of they need some additional help. So once again, it's based on merit and it's based on need. All right, so the seventh allocation method is based on something known as force. Now, this is kind of seen, the seventh and eighth allocation methods are going to be based on command economies solely, right? So force allocation method, you're basically having somebody that's in power that is using threats to dictate who gets what. For instance, if you don't do this, then you don't get this, right? So that's force allocation. The eighth allocation method is kind of like force, but it's called authority. So we're talking about a person in power or a group of people in power that's in charge of the resources, that they get to decide who gets what, and they get to decide to make all the decisions. They can change direction quickly because they are in charge of everything. So once again, we're talking about command economies, allocation methods. And the final allocation method that we're going to get to today is sharing. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Not really, but sharing is just like it sounds. Roads, we share roads, right? We drive our own cars, but we have to share the roads. We share libraries. Everybody has access to those public goods and services, right? Another one that's not really a public good or service is bathrooms. When you're a freshman in college, you might choose to live in a dorm, right? Where everybody uses that same stinking bathroom. You guessed it. Communal bathrooms, example of sharing. Once again, sharing is caring. Not really. All right, so I hope this video really helped you with allocation methods. Remember, they're not really that hard. You just have to know which one goes with which descriptor, and you need to be able to affiliate that term with a certain economy, either command or market, right? So until next time, peace.